Ideas are worth the pursuit. Today, I want to share with you how the worst musical experience of my life helped me to reach millions. Welcome to the No Bow Tie Show. I'm John No Bow Tie Swoboda, author, musician, and mindset mentor. Get ready to discover your unique edge, tools to conquer doubt, and the power to live with limitless joy.
I can remember resisting my own ideas in a really detrimental way, and it still plays out today. I was not prone to technology, nor did I want to learn how to do computers. In the back of my mind, I did have some ideas about taking classes of learning how to do the recording techniques, and the idea was I would apply this to doing my own albums. I would record my own albums. And I put it off and, of course, spent thousands of dollars having other people record. I think I did 5 albums of paying somebody else to use their skills and technology. And I just kept ignoring this idea that was panging at my heart to do that myself. I knew that I could learn it if I would just step up to the plate, but I ignored it. It came to a point where I had some ideas for an album, and I was very resistant to it because, one, it's a lot of work. And again, I was paying other people, and this time I came up with a different obstacle. I didn't have the money. And I knew that to continue the career, I had to put out another album and tour on that album and, promote myself with something new. And I went ahead and I buckled down, and I thought to myself, I had an idea about 5 years ago to take little steps to get to know the technology, and now it's overwhelming. I could hardly just go in and open up the computer and figure it out. But I had a friend who taught me a little bit about how to get started. I had another friend that taught me a little bit about editing. And then a peer of mine that was in music, he was actually operating his own recording studio, and he let me look over his shoulder while he was doing some things. And it was beyond my knowledge, but I started to understand, and it started to form in my mind that if he can do it, I can do it. He was not performing magic. He was actually just applying himself. And I remember driving home one night from his studio. It was just a basement studio. And I had an idea. And it was simply that I would get a dummies book, and I would call the first friend, and I would ask him to fill in some of the gaps on getting started and actually turning that microphone on, recording a tune, and helping me to understand how to edit. Now my idea was starting to flow. My resistance for the album subsided, not knowing the tidal wave of pressure I was about to face. To be the artist and the engineer is a different frame of mind. It's a different brain chemistry that is not for everybody. Some can do it. I really struggled. So while I'm learning to use the computer and learning to do the edit, I'm also performing these tunes that are on the absolute edge of my ability, concert pieces, but yet I stuck with it. And I worked it until I had reached the goal that I set out to reach. I recorded the album, I did all of the edits, I sent it off for mastering, got it back, and I'll remember that I listened to it once and sent it to manufacturing, got the copies, and went ahead and did some local touring, sold the CDs, and moved on to the next album, never listened to it again. The most magnificent thing happened next. When I took what was my next idea, so I separated out and I created the no bow tie concept, which was taking classical music and putting it to funky grooves with an ensemble. Now, I lacked the skill to carry out my ideas, and I really didn't have the desire to acquire those skills. It was a better idea to get people who were already skilled that way, who were, had magnificent talents beyond what I may achieve in a lifetime. And then to combine our ideas. So I went and sought out a man named Mike West, who is an expert producer, engineer, and musician. And I explained to him what I was doing with No Bow Tie and the arrangements. We got together When our minds met on this idea, to wear out the word, I realized that he saw it through a different view, and he had different creative input than I would have ever thought. And that's when I realized the fantastic part of this was collaboration was going to feed this like fire, that to combine other people in with their ideas is the way to get it to turn into the magic that it is now today. No Bow Tie has now recorded 4 albums under that same premise of collaboration in welcoming and inviting everybody's ideas as to how it serves my core idea, so that it lives through other people and now expresses to the whole. You can remember at the beginning of this conversation that I'm the person who is very adverse to technological skills and quite lame at it. And while I did step up and act on those ideas, you might wonder, like, how does that play out in my life now? Do I like doing that, and am I benefiting from it? And how do I use that? And the fact is, I really don't like it. I don't like it. But I do know that it's a vehicle to get my ideas to live. And so since I quit procrastinating action with technology, I've gotten millions of views on TikTok, and I've got followers on YouTube and Facebook, all social media throughout. And my music can be found on any platform where you can stream music. And the podcasts that you're watching, these are available on any platform where you can get a podcast. And that's all of a result of putting my resistance aside and knowing that the result I wanted was to reach the people with the message on how to live a better life. So I do like that. And I suggest you do the same, is that when you look at something that you're resisting and you are pushing back on taking action on it, see if you like the result, not the actual action. Very few people want to practice and exercise and study. We want to know, we want to learn, and we want to play those things. So I really do enjoy getting the results of the technology. Now, from that, I think some of the things in my life after I start is to realize the power in connecting with people that can help you. Not just collaboration of creating together, but the power in asking questions and listening and observing other people's techniques. Those things really help to nurture. Now, getting down to the daily routine, I think it's important to every day take note of what your ideas are, even if they're lame, even if they're not usable and you're not going to act on them. Record them so that they are tangible, so that you know you had one. Don't blow them off. They are the most important things that you have in your life. Then when you get one that you are slightly excited about, if any of it gives you a sense of inspiration, do something, start. Because I believe it is true, and you'll hear me say this till the end of my days. The greatest sin is to have inspiration and do nothing with it. But just recently, a success came. I was staying out in the country, and I had brought a Bose player so I could listen to some music in a cabin that was out basically in the wilderness. And I saw that on Spotify, and I thought to myself, that was really a courageous act. That idea, I remember the day that was just an idea, and I carried that through. And I just shook my head, and I remembered how horrific it was to work it through. It was so much work, and I just shook my head, and I even said out loud, that has got to be the worst musical experience I've had. And it was just because of the work, not the music. And I was working again on one of the pieces that were on that album for something I'm going to do here in the near future. And I thought, well, let me give it a listen so I can learn what not to do on relearning the piece. I played it. It was on Spotify or something like that, I think Bandcamp. And I played it. and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It turned out to be by far my best work in a recording studio. And I had never taken the time to review and see what I had accumulated as a result of my ideas. I listened to the whole album. Not only was I satisfied, I was inspired. And I couldn't wait to get these songs out into the world. I was so proud of the effort, not because I thought that I played them well. The ideas lived, and I made them live. I ignored repressing them, and I ignored how hard it was. I stuck with it, and I just kept nurturing those seeds of ideas and fertilizing them and working them until finally the fruit was ready to be picked, and it ended up just as ear candy. And to this day, I am so glad that I acted on those ideas. In hearing it, I knew that the quality of the technology that we have today could even more greatly improve it. So we have it remastered. Now, I did not do the remastering. A man that I work with named Dane Davenport did the remastering of it. And when he played it for me, it sounded like being in the room with the guitarist, with the room reverb. And it sounds like you are sitting there listening to a guitar player, not just a digital recording. I'm going to leave you with a special treat. This is the piece that I heard that woke me up and told me that the album was worth it. It's a piece called La Maja de Goya by Enrique Granados. Enjoy.